AirPods, so you're fine. It's cool.
Okay, cool.
Alrighty. And I'll edit anything that needs to be edited, and we'll be good. Here we go. Hello, ladies
Okay.
and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I'm your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me tonight is adult star Miss Bella Bates. Bella, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure to be here.
I got to say, first and foremost, I've seen a lot of your work, and you've done a lot of great things in the adult entertainment industry. So I got to say, it's a pleasure and a privilege because I got to say, there's a lot of stuff that's out there from a content perspective that you do a lot of great work with. So it's a pleasure.
Oh, thanks. It's a pleasure to be here.
I will say this first and foremost, the adult entertainment industry provides a lot of different variety and a lot of great talent, such as yourself, that are produced in it. So I want to know, how did you get involved in the crazy world that is the adult entertainment industry? What really gravitated you towards it?
Well, I um okay, so basically I lived in Lexington, Kentucky, and it was kind of hard to keep a job being a trans woman
Mhm.
and stuff. So I was like, "Oh man, this sucks." And no one really wanted to be seen with me or anything. Everyone just wanted to, hook up with me. And I was like, okay, well, let me try and make some money from this. And that's what kind of brought me to do sex work and stuff. And I always, you know, watched stuff, and I always looked up to the bigger girls like Lena Kelly and stuff. Well, her name's Lena Moon now, and Natalie Mars, and I saw them all having a good time and making content and stuff, and I wanted to be a part of that.
I think it's very simple and simplistic of how you got there. And I'm actually glad that you brought that up because, first and foremost, as someone who lives in the South himself, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I grew up on Long Island, New York. So I can attest when it comes to the Southern region how people will look upon you. There's a lot of judgmental, unfortunately. I think in the world where we've had the evolution come from racism and how we look at certain things, there's a lot of things that do stay the same. And unfortunately, not everyone is open minded. But I look at it from a stance, too, as well, from the transgender community and you yourself being transgendered and doing the work that you've done in said industry. It's an amazing market, but also at the same time, you're just doing you and you're loving what you're doing. So I think at the end of the day, you're winning and you're showing a lot of people your strengths.
Yeah, it helps me to make money to continue my transition and to have a positive work environment where I'm not getting bullied or anything all the time. Because I mean, I can take some stuff, I got thick skin, but then you're at work every day, and then you gotta make yourself go to work, and then you gotta make yourself deal with this stuff because you gotta be good customer service and stuff. It's just way too much
Hey,
for
I get it.
$7 an hour.
I get it. It's funny. Also, you bring up customer service. As someone who I can attest has worked in market research, and which is sort of has communications and customer service in it. It's one of those things where, like, sometimes you want to lose your shit, to put it bluntly, on the phone with people because people can be very irritants and hard to deal with, and it's just But also at the same time, you got to put your best foot forward and be positive and do what you have to do for said job. And I look at it from a stance too as well. So from content creation, you accumulate money, you get to work with a lot of people, and it really just showcases the open-mindedness because I mean there's a lot of stuff that when we watch said content, when we watch said artistry, that is the adult entertainment industry, because at the end of the day it is an art. It's something that really explores our horizons from the sexual being and overall physical being and emotionally. So it's really about evoking emotions at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I look at it from a stance of people like yourself, great names like you mentioned, like Natalie Mars. And I mean, for you, like you were talking about, you see such people like this. It's very larger than life, and you're getting into what you're getting into. Me personally, I remember as a kid when I was like 12, and I mean, the one of the big websites at the time was girlshuntinggirls.com. It's a lesbian scenes, and they're in a van picking up girls, and boom, it's the sexual horizons, it's puberty at its finest, right? So for you,
Yeah.
you're talking about these amazing stars. Was there any particular scene that really gravitated you towards it? Because I mean, there's so many great works from the artists that you mentioned, but what in return for as far as adult stars really got you into, like, what scene really like heightened you to really want to pursue this dream of being in the adult entertainment industry and your overall work?
Um, I don't know if there was a specific scene or anything, but just kind of following them on different social medias. Like when I decided I wanted to be an adult star, it was back in the Tumblr days.
Oh,
So I was watching these girls like take pictures, and like they weren't just nudes, like they would do like cosplays and like everything. And so I was like, oh, that's so cool that they can pretty much do whatever they want, like they like a character or something. Like I remember I think Natalie Mars did like a Wendy's, like the fast food chain.
Mhm.
She did like a Wendy's cosplay, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so crazy!" And then like she had all these likes and stuff, and I was like, yeah, it's like you can literally do like whatever cosplay you want, and like, like just express yourself, and then like make it your own thing, kind of. So like I would like follow her, and like then I remember seeing that like Lena Moon, she ended up getting picked up by Trans Angels to be a director and stuff, and like she directed that that movie Tranimals and stuff, and I was like, oh wow, like so if you like work hard enough, it'll eventually pay off, like I thought that was pretty cool.
I think it is very cool, and I think what's also very cool about it too, as well. Like you mentioned, cosplaying, right? Cosplaying
Yeah.
is such a great market, and it's such a great variety for cosplaying because who does not want to see a beautiful woman dressed up like a Wonder Woman or some said superhero, right? It's stuff
Yeah.
like you mentioned. It doesn't have to be nude. You could give me a good dress, give me some lingerie, but a lot of people don't realize like the modeling side of things that also goes into the adult entertainment industry because there are some beautiful photos and imagery that really sustains the one's eye, you know?
Yeah, you gotta know what your like good poses are, your good sides are, and then like you gotta like do your makeup to like accentuate that stuff, and there's a lot that goes into it.
And I think what's also great about it, and also I'll put you in this right here because I've seen a lot of your imagery from behind the scenes and stuff. You take a lot of great photos yourself, Elevate. So I got to give you a lot of credit on that too. You look good.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And as well, I also like we were talking about, it's not all that goes into it. A lot of people don't even realize, like in front of the camera, it's great to produce that, but behind the scenes, the lighting, just in general, I mean, there's a lot of great scenes that you've done that we're going to get into. But I think what also showcases and what really heightens that said scene, and looking at your work and looking at your extensive background, god dang, man, like you put a lot of work into those scenes. You're enjoying yourself. It really shines through on the camera, Bella.
For sure. Thank you. I try my hardest. Definitely spend a lot of money into it.
And I think that's what's great about it too, is because I think, and not just in the adult entertainment industry, but any walk of life, any facet, if you're not loving what you're doing, then don't do it. You know what I'm saying? I also look at it from a stance too, with whatever passion from the imagery side of things. I mean, I remember as a kid, like growing up in the 90s, right? Everybody loved the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees. You got your Britney Spears, your Christina Aguilera, your Mandy Moore. Everything from an imagery standpoint, from a magazine cover, from a sticker, what have you. It's something like videos as well. Look at Britney Spears, Baby One More Time. People love the schoolgirl attire. So whatever you wear, whatever you dress, whatever you have to appeal one's eye is really what makes a lot go forward. And I've seen a lot of your work as far as, I'm going to put a name out here, Smash Thompson. You're doing the thing where y'all are playing like doctor. He's checking on you, and then it leads to this very passionate scene. It's stuff like that. Storytelling perspective, it shines a good work. So I have to ask you about Smash Thompson, man, because he's very popular and he's a hell of a talent in his own right.
Yeah, he is. For sure. There's like never a dull moment with Smash. I love that dude. He's so fucking hilarious, and like the ad libbing of scenes and stuff. Because like sometimes he'll do scenes with people, and like they don't know what to say, and then like you don't know what to say, so there's like but like he was very funny, and like had like innuendos and like little things he would say, and then like I was like, oh okay, and then, like I would play off of that. But, like that was a really fun scene, and I've talked with him a lot. So like when I met him, it was like I met like a friend that I just haven't seen before. Like kind of like if you play games with somebody and then you meet him in real life. It was like, oh yeah, hey, what's up?
I think that's the great relationship to have. And first and foremost, when y'all are talking about John Cockins and stuff like that, the overall act you were mentioned. No, and it goes a long way because I mean that also goes into the imagination of how, like we were talking about cosplaying, like porn parodies. There's a She-Hulk porn parody, and Vivid has produced a wide array of porn parodies, like stuff like that. I think you just gave a name for like a John Cockins and stuff like that. It's like when we had Harry Twatter
Yeah.
back in the day for Harry Potter. Like it works, you know. It all links.
Yeah, that one's funny as hell.
It is. And that's the thing too. I think with anything, I think it has to be half of, professionalism, but also you got to add that entertainment and ad lib, like you mentioned, because that's what it is at the end of the day. And I mean, back in the day, what we have, my goodness gracious, for a website, we had Big Sausage Pizza. The presence of that website was, and the purpose, you get a pizza, boom, Big Sausage Pizza, pizza with a side of sausage. It's very simplistic. It's kind of corny, but at the end of the day, stuff like that sells because a lot of people can really gel and mesh and, really get into it.
Yeah.
It's some of the most simplistic things that we also say. Like you were talking about the Tumblr days. My God, as soon as you said Tumblr, that really just took me back. But it's stuff like that, social media sites that really goes a long way from the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the analytics. But god dang, man, when we talk about social media, your social media is always popping. And I will say this from your tweets, just over. I got to put this out there, man, because your tweets talking just about there's a lot of sex involved, and there's a lot of, I'm going to say right now, there's a lot of lust, there's a lot of sexiness and vibes to it. It's a great vibe all in all, seeing you on social media, because you do put out a lot of fun stuff out there.
Thanks. I try and be funny and like make stuff funny and then also be sexy and like lustful and stuff for everyone. So, and I always try and respond to people and stuff, try and make them feel like they can talk with me and stuff like that.
Well, kindness goes a long way, and I think when it comes to us as people, you know what I'm saying? I think we all have a purpose, so to speak, and we can touch people's hearts. And I think just by that, by a kind word and just the overall interaction, you're making someone's day. So you should be very proud of yourself, because a lot of people appreciate your work and your fan base. So I mean, that all goes hand in hand, all in all, you know?
Yeah, I love connecting with fans and stuff too.
And I think with you as well, what I also love about you here, because man, we talked about the scene with Smash Thompson here, but you've also done some stuff, and she's been a past guest on my show, Miss Roxy Moth. Roxy and you have great chemistry together, her behind the scenes and in front of the camera. She's another true pro and a really fun and interesting human being who I have a lot of love and respect for, as I do you. So let's talk about that scene with Roxy Moth, man, because again, you two gel, and it's a very passionate scene between the two of you.
Which one was it? The day spa one?
Yes, the day spa one, absolutely. Yep, that one.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever met her. She's really sweet and she's really fun to work with and stuff. And like I was super nervous when I first met her because like that was like probably the first big name person I met. So I was like, oh my god, I've seen her on the websites and stuff. But she was like super like humble and cool. Like sometimes you'll meet people and they'll be all like, yeah, like I know like who I am and stuff. But she was like really cool. Like it was like a like just meeting like somebody that was like just as big as me or something.
I think what's great about it too is, and I think that's how you have to be, because it goes not just from the adult entertainment industry and celebrity, but people in itself. When you have that comfortability, and I always love using this term, it's A and C. And no, I'm not talking about Atlantic City. I'm talking about accommodation and comfortability. That goes a long way, not just in
Yeah.
podcasts we're doing right here, but just in general with any film. You have to make people feel comfortable and be accommodating with people's schedules. So, I mean, I could tell by how you're describing Roxy, she's one of those people, and speaking personally, it's one of those people that's very, very chill, very fluid, and that's what makes for a great time.
Yeah.
And I think as well, which I'll also add to you, Ms. Bella Bates, it's one of those things where I see you because you encapture a lot of different scenes, whether you're being like the 2D of the tutor, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different films that are array, from role playing to how you want to go into different scenes. And that's the beauty part of storytelling. Like we were talking about being in front and behind the camera. How important is the storytelling of just, the role playing and everything that goes into it? Because god dang, man, there's a lot of stuff that's relatable to real life, but there's also a lot of stuff that you can heighten up the sex appeal and really turn the volume up on your character.
Yeah, like some most of them like I don't know what I'm shooting until I get there. So like a lot of it is like I get there and then like everyone's like, "Okay, we're gonna do this, 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 and this," and I'm like, "Oh gosh, like how do I make this like seem authentic?" Like, cause like I used to want to be an actor when I was like younger, so like I always try and like overplay stuff and like be like an actress, you know. But like, um, yeah, it's kind of hard whenever people are like, "Oh yeah, this is what we're gonna do today," and like it's that day, like in like a couple hours is like whenever you're gonna be on camera and stuff. So like you gotta kind of like keep stuff like loaded like all throughout the month of like knowing that you're gonna shoot. You're like playing through all these different scenarios of what it could be and stuff, and then like so when you get there, then you can like come with stuff off the cuff and stuff like that.
I like that because I also look at it from a stance too. Creativity is what really goes into a lot of these scenes. Get the creative juices flowing. Like we mentioned ad-libbing before. It's one of those things
Yeah.
if you're not like spicing it up and being creative because okay, here's a scene and I'm gonna put it like this because if you see it on an HBO or like Cinemax at 3 o'clock in the morning, yes, I'm taking it back to those days. When all of a sudden you're just roaming through the tube and then here comes a movie and it's like, oh hi, how you doing? Yeah, what's up? And then boom, right into the sex scene. There's actually a lot of fulfillment and a lot of storytelling, like we mentioned, that really goes into it. Instead of like the cookie cutter, what you see, it's like, let me do my little twist over here, twist over there, and boom, let's make some magic, right?
Yeah, and I like it a lot whenever I know what I'm gonna shoot, so, like, then I can be planning it because I don't wanna, like, just show up there and just, like, do, like, a gonzo thing, like, "Oh, hey, you're here?" Like, and then, like, they're like, "Yeah, I'm here, baby." Like, like, I wanna do, like, stuff that's, like, I don't know, kinda, like, make innuendos, like, I kinda, like, go with, like, the old school, like, mentality, like, where they're like, "Oh, yeah, I need my pipes fixed." Like, "Oh, I'm here to fix your pipes, baby." Like, I love that style, like, the goofy stuff. So, like, I like to do, like, both, like, goofy stuff and, like, serious stuff too.
See, I like that because a lot of stuff can be very goofy, but at the same time, it's also some of the stuff that's very entertaining and good content. I mean, I remember I was listening to a comedian. He was talking about meeting a porn star, in LA, right? So he starts
Mhm.
off talking about seeing this scene. He's like, you know what? You're going through Pornhub and then you haven't seen it. You're like, seen it. You're scrolling through and then boom, you find something new. He was talking about a scene he saw where it's the point of view camera from the gentleman's spot, right? So he's like cooking, like making these eggs, and then the girl's like, oh well, you know what, I really want to go on this permission slip, have this permission slip signed in the field trip. And then it's like, well, how bad do you really want to go on this field trip? And then it turns into like a blowjob scene, from a point of view standpoint. Like some of that is very like basic dialogue and again very cheesy, but at that time, much like you just got right there and evoked an emotion, it's funny, it's entertaining
Yeah.
because it's leading up to like, hey, so how bad do you really want to go on this field trip? And then it just goes into this big old scene, right?
Yeah, for sure. I love silly stuff like that.
And the thing
I've
too is
definitely seen some silly stuff.
right. And I mean, from the porn parody side of things, I mean, porn parodies have really varied onto everything. My God, there was a Brady Bunch porn parody. There was a Rocky Balboa porn parody, like the She-Hulk. They go into Marvels. There was even one for Jersey Shore, for God's sake. So it mixes pop culture and it provides that sex appeal. And God rest his soul, as we found out today, Bob Saget just passed away, which I'm
Oh.
right. And like that's who we grew up with from Full House. They did one for Full House called Full Holes, for God's sake. Full Holes. And we're going with that. So there's stuff like that. And I mean, you look at it from the political standpoint. Lisa Ann, who is one of the most beautiful and talented adult stars out there, did Who's Nailin' Palin, where she was the Sarah Palin character, and there's these different sex scenes and whatnot, and that became one of her larger than life characters in the adult world. So there's always something where you start out small and then boom, something can just really arise from that. Pun intended.
Yeah.
But but no, it really does showcase. And I think with you as well, like we talked about, oh my goodness, Gene Jezebel, Haven Star, like from the tutor aspect, like I mentioned with that, and what you did with Haven, there's great dialogue and also very passionate and immaculate scenes because I think you can agree with me here. Lustful, very sexy, very affectionate, but god dang, it's the class and it's the elegance that also goes into it well that really showcases that lovemaking, right?
Yeah, for sure. And whenever I shot with Haven the last time, she always brings these outfits that are like, kinda like neon colored. They're like very like vibrant, like they pop off the camera and stuff. So like I had my hair was like yellow and stuff and like yeah, I had on like a neon kind of outfit and like our outfits were like really popping together. I feel like I like the way that girl dresses for sure.
Well, that's how you have to look at it. And first of all, I have seen the photos of you with your yellow hair. It's kind of very reminiscent, and I'll say this right now. It's bright yellow like a banana. And that's not bad, but you certainly got some potassium, if you know what I'm saying, to put a little reference window there. My goodness gracious. But no, I mean, I think that's how you have to do it sometimes, whether it's the change of a hair, the makeup, what have you, the dress, the overall ensemble, if you will, the accoutrements. Sometimes you got to mix it up.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's the thing too that also encompasses and makes a great scene. And I think we were talking about role playing, and I think the overall dressing from lingerie to cosplaying. And for you, I'm going to say this as well because we were talking about sort of like the fashion sense, the sex appeal, and the lust side of things. For
Yeah.
For you, what is some of the some of your favorite stuff like dressing for scenes? Is it like lingerie, a little something something here? What are you kind of into as far as the fashion side of things when it comes to the adult scenes?
Um, I don't know, I really like garters and stuff, like garters and heels, like, um, I like skirts a lot.
Hey,
Um, I feel like my style's kinda, like, everywhere, though.
hey, that's not a bad thing. You could be like the Madonna of the adult entertainment industry. You ever seen Madonna at these VMAs wearing all that Madonna wears? Like when Little Kim was at the 99 MTV VMAs and one of her boob was out and had like little payslip on it. It was like purple and her purple hair. You got to be a trendsetter, man. You got to showcase your.
Yeah,
That's how you have to do it. I mean, the old saying goes, Bell, if you got it, flaunt it, you know?
for sure.
And I think what's also great about it too, as well, with the adult entertainment industry, like there's the Trans Erotic Awards, and there's so many award shows to go into that really showcases people's work. Like how great is it? Like you have the Oscars with movies, you have the Super Bowl for sports, you have the Video Music Awards, the Movie Awards. How awesome is it that we see, and over the years, it's like an evolution, so to speak, of how great the adult awards are and the overall pageantry and the spectacle that goes into those.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty wild, like, I have a dress, like well, it's not here, it's actually in storage, but I have a dress for the first time I get to walk down the red carpet, picked out already. Like, I went out last year and I was, like, shopping and found, like, this dress, and I was like, "Oh my gosh," so, like, that would be the dress I would wear. So, like, I went and I bought it, and I have it all, like, saved just for that moment.
I gotta say right now, for the dress, when that moment does come, I know it's going to be absolutely amazing, and I look forward to seeing you walk down that red carpet, my friend. I think it's one of those. I think it's one of those things as well, too, man. Like when it comes to these awards and the spectacles and the spend the pageantry, excuse me, as we mentioned, like being just a nominated for those scenes. Like I remember as a kid in my teens watching the AVNs and just how fun it is, and you get to see like how they big it up. That's big up with the whole the scenes and how the awards are. And it's wonderful because it makes you feel like you're there. And it's one of those things that's like, okay, this is different and unique. Like they had that sex appeal in the adult industry, like the wrestling, right? Wrestling back
Yeah.
in the day, we had women's erotic wrestling. We had so many, we focused a lot on the sex appeal. And wrestling nowadays is more on with female wrestling, which is awesome because there's a lot of great talents too, but they're still sexy as well. I mean, there's not a lot of bikini contests like we had, but still we get to really exude and accentuate women of combative natures as well, which is awesome because women have been killing it since the test of time. Now we're really showcasing what they can do. And we're finally noticing it, even though it's been there right in front of our faces over all this time.
Yeah, for sure. I like a lot of, wrestling, so I haven't really watched wrestling since I was, like, little, though,
Yeah.
but, like, what's that one thing called, oh, goodness, I
It,
can't remember what it's called off the top, but it's like porn wrestling. It's
okay.
like they yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I mean,
Evolve fights.
oh, Ariel
Yeah.
X's motion. Yes.
Yeah, I like watching those a lot.
I gotta say, I've had Ariel on the show, sweetheart of a human being, and I'm gonna say right now, and I'm actually glad that you brought that up. Go out of your way to see evolved fights because when it comes to evolved fights, it's different. It's a creative concept. I mean, it's a win-win. You don't even lose because even if you lose, there's gonna be some beautiful lovemaking and sex in that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a win-win for,
Yeah.
so to speak, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And
I've
that's
always wanted to get on that side of things and, like, I would go and work out and
No, I can appreciate that. And I mean, we've seen it, like I was telling you about it for those that know I do this stuff with LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship. Look at what you do with that. Like, that's such a unique concept because you see the UFC, there's so many beautiful women. There's Shannon Knapp and Victor's promotion there with women's mixed martial arts. But adding that sex appeal, that reality show esque wearing lingerie and kicking butt at the same time, it's very
Yeah.
endearing. But also, remember back in the day, we had the LFL, the Lingerie Football League, that started like late 2000, like around 2010. Do you remember that back in the day?
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I remember finding it and I was like, "Where has this been?"
right? So I'm going to take it back for everybody. So remember back in when MTV2, like you know what I'm saying, when MTV and MTV2, we actually had music on it, and not the reality shows like the Jersey Shore and my Sweet 16 and fucking Teen Mom and all this stuff. So when we
Yeah.
actually had music playing, they actually would air those on like the weekends at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I remember specifically seeing on MTV2, and I'm like you mentioned, where has this been? But it's like it's beautiful women kicking butt and taking names, and also they hit hard. It was some of the best television, very entertaining.
Yeah, it was.
And that's the thing. I think that's what's missing, nowadays. And what I mean by that is like nobody really wants to go. I mean, not mind you, now everything is very, you don't want to. I'm going to say not too PC, but very. It's just like people get easily offended, and that happens. You know what I'm saying? There's stuff to be offended by, but then it's just stuff. It's like, all right, nope, knock it off. But also at the same time, it's like you got to be careful with today's day and age because what would have flown back in like 2009 doesn't necessarily fly in 2022. If that makes sense, it's very crazy.
Yeah, I totally get that.
And again, it's not a bad thing, but I think nowadays, especially with social media, my goodness gracious, the guidelines that we have with Instagram and what can we post and stuff will get taken down. It's like, but I've seen like worse photos out there. You know what I'm saying? Stuff will get.
Yeah.
Isn't that like crazy just to think of how guidelines are really how we are nowadays in the society when it comes to social media?
Yeah, it kills me. Especially it's like if on Instagram, if you're like a big account, like for instance, like no disrespect or anything, like I love Playboy and stuff,
Yeah.
but I was on Playboy the other day on their Instagram page, and they had like this girl with her boobs like fully out, like nipples and everything. But then like I've had my Instagram deleted like 6 times last year just because I posted a picture of my butt, like when I'm wearing underwear. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Eh, See, that's very tame, and it's very like it's kind of like elegance with taste, but it's also sexiness. Like that's fine with me. You know what I'm saying? Like then there's other stuff where it's just like it's flat out bada bing, bada boom, here we are, and it's like,
Yeah.
all right, we're just gonna leave that. Now Twitter actually does allow you to do a lot of the scenes and post a lot of that stuff. Twitter's a little bit more lenient on that, but still, Twitter has its ups and downs as well.
Yeah, they're pretty much shadow ban anyone that marks their accounts as sensitive content. So
Well,
like
yeah, that's the thing too. And I look at it from a stance too with Twitter. It's like, all right, we have the sensitive content up, and that I'm going to say it right now. If for those who go and will promote your social media a little bit here, Bella, but for those who go to Bella Bates's profile, you'll see a little sensitive content, huh? Doing your thing. You also have your many vids and OnlyFans attached, and it's a hell of a time
yeah.
and content for people. Which how amazing is that? Because that also kind of ties in what I want to go in here. It's like many vids, OnlyFans, like it's more adult platforms to showcase a little bit of sample of what you can get, and it's a community for people to interact. It's really like taken off since Corona and the COVID, and really for a lot of people that are bored and really have nothing to do, and get the creative juices flowing. Here's many vids, OnlyFans, boom, and you can accumulate money off of it.
Yeah, for sure. I really like them. OnlyFans is kind of like it's kind of weird now. Like a lot of their guidelines are like so vague and stuff, and it's just like, can I post this here, or am I gonna have my entire like income ripped away from me? Like it's crazy. And they kind of made their name off of, well, like they really didn't make their name off of, but they got popular from sex work, and like now they want to like reverse it. Super weird. But yeah, there are some great platforms out there like minivids. Definitely, they let you post stuff um for free. So like when people go on your profile, it kind of has like a little Twitter like news feed kind of thing where you can have like videos and pictures, and then they have like a VIP like one where you can post like videos and pictures, but you have to pay monthly to view all that section of stuff, the VIP fan clubs and stuff.
I think what's also very cool about it is, and we were talking about the evolution also. Now, mind you, with social media, it has its positives, it has its negatives, and it's sometimes it's like I need to take a social media break. You know what I'm saying? Because everything is at our fingertips, but at the same time, a lot of us can get consumed with it, and sometimes we need to pump the brakes and go back a little, which I think it's a nice
Yeah.
healthy balance, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I definitely have to pump my brakes a lot.
Fair enough, because it can be very addicting, but I also look at it from a stance too as well. Like we were talking about the evolution of the adult entertainment industry and how porn has really gone from different genres, different categories. There's something for everyone, and it showcases everyone's uniqueness. And I think what's very cool, besides the preferences side of things, we go from going to a website like Naughty America, and then here's like an X videos, an X hamster, the Pornhub, a lot of these sites for streaming and stuff. It's like how amazing it is it just to see from going where we were back in the day to where we are now with everything being at our fingertips and so much of streaming and just all this content, right at our fingertips.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that we're able to do that, but then at the same time, it's crazy that like this is now 2022, but like I'm speaking I don't know, mostly about 2021, how people were like, all like, oh yeah, let's ban pornography, let's ban all this stuff. And it's like, dude, like, why are we going back to like the Stone Age? You know, like, it's crazy because like back in the day, cartoons and stuff even used to have like boobs and stuff on them, like, like Ren and Stimpy, for
Yep.
example. And then now, like, everyone's like, oh, we don't need to show that sexual imagery and stuff like that. And everyone's like, you need to hide your body and don't do this and don't do that. And then, like, certain states, if you say, like, if you went to court or something and you were like, yeah, basically I'm like a self-made model, and they're like, oh, well, what do you model? And, like, they're like, they pry you about like what you do, and you're like, well, I'm an adult model, like entertainers type thing, and they're like, oh, well, that's not a real job, and then they like judge you based on that. It's so crazy. But then, like, at the end of the year, you still pay them taxes, and they still take the money. Like,
You know, again, we were talking about open-mindedness, and this is why I love what I do, interviewing people of all facets of life, giving a platform, telling stories like we're doing right here, right now. But it's like, come on, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is a job. People accumulate money. You know, you may not agree with how someone, does their job, or may not agree with the job, but they're not hurting anybody. You know what I'm saying? You guys and gals are not hurting anybody. You're just doing your
right.
stuff and performing an art. But the problem is, we're also in a society where, and we're talking about 2021, we go to hide our bodies. It's like we have people like Billie Eilish, who was saying stuff about porn and bad mouthing the porn industry and doing stuff like, what she says, and just overall crudeness and really not understanding what the work that goes into it. And it's just the overall ideology and the visualization of, well, they're naked, they're like, you know what I'm saying? It's a very closed-minded and very judgmental, but also at the same time very ignorant point of view.
Yeah, for sure. But like, honestly, if there wasn't porn or if there wasn't escorts and stuff like that, I think the world would probably be a lot more dangerous of a place,
Oh,
because I think certain people like go to these websites and see an escort, and then they like kind of like get like a therapy from it
yeah.
to like relieve like their depravedness and stuff. And then, like, if we just took all that away, then, like, catcalling would probably be a lot worse than it is. But also, I can also see the side of things where people, for example, like, they watch my videos and stuff, and then they're like, oh, well, yeah, like, okay, I won't get into that, but like, they talk about performing unsafe practices and stuff like that, and they're like, well, you did it in your video. And I'm like, honey, like, the videos, like, we all like pay to get tested and everything, and like, we basically have a sheet list, and we like go through it, and we check what we're cool with and what we're not cool with. So it's all pre-discussed before, like, we never just go into a scene and we're just like, oh yeah, like, like, here you go. Like, it's not like that at all.
Well, first and foremost, it's okay to get into it. So pretty much what you're saying is there is protocol and there is checking and testing to make sure nobody has anything, so we can
Yeah.
conduct the scene very professionally. Absolutely, I get it, and that's total sense. You should do with any job. But what we're doing now, making sure everybody's vaccinated, make sure everybody's tested, so we can have a safe working environment. I totally understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's you don't. It's all right that you didn't have to get into it, because I'll be honest here, we'll be here all day with how venting and how all that stuff really applies to nowadays. I totally understand. But not, I mean, I look at it from a stance too as well. Like when you talk about adult work and just everything that goes into it and just the overall how it has. I mean, for God's sake, man, like you were talking about escorting and stuff. That would be like in the year 2022, in 1990. It's one of the most legendary movies. I'm talking about Pretty Woman, Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. That'd be Julia Roberts. That would be like somebody getting offended that Julia Roberts played an escort or a hooker in the friggin' movie. It's like it's the point of she's a hooker and Richard Gere is in love with her. It's supposed to be like a one night thing, but then he develops feelings for her and really helps her kind of get out of that. It's a loving relationship based on the premise. You know what I'm saying? That'd be like somebody getting offended over Pretty Woman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you also had Cat House, the series, which was very big, that showcased that from the Bunny Ranch in Las Vegas. That was on HBO. And I mean, you had Taxi Cab Confessions. So you had a lot of adult oriented stuff. You know what I'm saying? So there's still stuff still out there for a lot of people to check out. But also at the same time, it's like, you know what? Let people live their lives. If they enjoy it, let them do it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think what a lot of people can enjoy is a lot of great content from you and just in general, man. And I'm going to say this, Miss Bella Bates, as we've really showcased and highlighted a lot of your career and a lot of your overall being. I'm going to say right now, the overture's here. Anytime you want to come back on the show, you're more than welcome. I really enjoyed having your company tonight.
Oh, for sure. I love being here. I'd be down to come back anytime.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to say this right now. Before we even get to the social medias and close this out, I did have to say this because we were talking about the transgender market in the adult entertainment industry and so much great content creators like yourself included. How awesome is it to see you being one of the many focal points of this said porn industry as far as trans go and just in general, man, because you put out a lot of great content over the years and really showcased your stuff.
It's definitely kind of surreal. Like I meet people and like they're newer into the industry and they're like, "Oh my God, you're Bella Bates." It's like I'm so nervous and I'm like, don't be nervous. Like I'm like just like trying to make a fool of myself and stuff to try and like ease it goes into the comfort thing. Like I'm like, "Oh yeah, please don't be nervous. Like I'm just a normal person." Like
That was actually going to be my follow-up because as someone who's been in the industry and really done this for a while and done a lot of scenes and really encompassed and captured on screen and behind the scenes, what advice do you have anybody that really wants to get into the adult entertainment industry, pursue a career much like yourself, and really get into the forefront of what the adult entertainment industry is? What advice would you give them?
I would say to what would I say? I wanted to say something along the lines of um, like, like don't like get really wrapped up in like the big companies and all that stuff. Like, make sure that you got yourself like organized and stuff with like your own content for like your own sites, like your mini vids, your OnlyFans, and all that. Like, make sure you're good before you go out and like do all these paid shoots and stuff because at the end of the day, like you're the one that's going to make you money, and anyone that finds you is going to find you from the stuff you've done yourself. And don't let anyone like discourage you from doing what you love. And like, because there's a lot of people that are going to try and do that and they're going to be like, "Oh, we made you like nah, just stick to what you're doing, and like you'll be fine."
Beautifully said, very eloquently said, and very simply said. It's the simple things, you know what I'm saying? No, I think you said that very well, and a lot of people should adhere to those words. And once more, before we close this out, Bella Bates, this is where I step back. Let everybody know where we can find you on all forms of social media, from Twitter, Instagram, OnlyFans, wherever people can follow you. Please go ahead and promote. Links will be in the description, folks.
Um, well, it's I'm TS Bella Bates on Twitter, but I'm shadow banned, so you have to type in the full thing.
Yeah.
My OnlyFans is onlyfans.com/TS Bella Bates. I'm TS Bella Bates on Pornhub. And I'm O Bella Bates, like OH Bella Bates on Instagram.
I like that. First of all, oh, Bella Bates, like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Could also be the sexual innuendo as well. Very nice and creative from the marketing side of things, and self-explanatory with the Twitter and the OnlyFans. So links will be in the description. Please go out of your way and check out Bella Bates's work and give her a follow on all forms of social media. And Bella, do you have any final words for your fans who've been supporting you since day one and checking out your work and checking you out all in the forefront? Do you have any final words for your fans?
I would say thank you all so much for supporting me. It's been a fun ride so far, and hopefully for a longer time to come. And I wouldn't be here without you all, and I appreciate you all so much.
The professionalism and the humbleness right there truly shines through. And the final thing that I will say before we close this out, as I always say, beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And Bella Bates, I include you in those sentiments. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.